Hi there, welcome back to Mudwalkers. My name is Chris. This is, like I said, Mudwalkers. If you're on YouTube, hit the like, share, subscribe, notification bell, all those things. Those things help the algorithm, apparently. And if you're on Vimeo, hit follow and give it a heart. If you're on Rumble, give it the Rumble button, all the things. Check out my social media links in the description down below. The Patreon link. Patreon helps support what I do. Consider becoming a Patreon member. With all that out of the way, let's get into the video. So imagine that a friend of yours comes to you with a black eye and a broken arm and a sling. You say, "Man, what happened to you?" He says, "Oh, it was horrible, awful. I walked under a ladder." You're thinking, you walked under a ladder, and the ladder fell on you and injured you. No. See, I walked under the ladder and it gave me bad luck. I see. So what happened? Well, I always knew that walking under a ladder was bad luck. So as soon as I walked under the ladder, I knew what was going to happen. I was going to have bad luck. So I ran, and I ran out the other side of the ladder, and I immediately smacked my head on the wall, gave myself a black eye, and I panicked. I realized it had already begun, and so I ran out of the building. And then on my way out of the building, I slammed my arm in a door, and then I got out to my car, and I managed to get to the doctor and got patched up, and now I'm here. You're thinking, well, have you considered that maybe it wasn't the ladder itself that gave you bad luck or something, that maybe it was your belief in this superstitious idea that ladders cause bad luck? Maybe that's what did all this, that maybe you just panicked, that maybe because you expected that reaction to happen, that you kind of made it happen? No, it was definitely the ladder. Well, we're looking at a similar concept today. Oxford Languages defines superstition as a widely held but unjustified belief in supernatural causation leading to certain consequences of an action or event or a practice based upon such a belief. Merriam-Webster's defines superstition as a belief or practice resulting from ignorance, fear of the unknown, trust in magic or chance, or a false conception of causation, or a notion maintained despite evidence to the contrary. Now, in the case of the Merriam-Webster's definition, we're going to hone in on a belief or practice resulting from a false conception of causation. That is one of the definitions given, so that's the one that we're going to use. And it is a definition for superstition, so it is valid. There are some common American superstitions, and I'm sure that my American viewers will know them right off the bat. Some of you who are elsewhere in the world, maybe you will have heard of these, maybe you haven't. But Americans out there, not all Americans, I'm certainly not one of them, but not one of the people who believes in this particular superstition that I'm about to mention, is birthday candles. There are Americans out there who actually believe that if you make a wish with all your heart before you blow out your birthday candles, there's a really strong chance that wish will come true because you made the wish during the blowing out of your candles. Or, the throwing of the bouquet at a wedding. The idea is that the woman who catches it will get married next. That's also a superstition. Then you have, of course, walking under a ladder. If you walk under a ladder, you'll have bad luck. What was that last one I was going to say? Yes, knock on wood. So if an American says something that he doesn't want to happen, something terrible. Like if I mention the idea of me getting into a car accident later today, the idea would be I knock on wood to make sure that it doesn't actually happen. The fact is that this stick or the table or the doorway or whatever it was that you knocked on doesn't actually have any magical powers to cause something to happen or cause it to not happen. It has no causal powers outside of just being a stick. It's not magical. So these beliefs all represent a practice and belief based on an idea of supernatural causation. So they are, by definition, superstitions. This episode of Mudwalkers has been brought to you by my generous supporters over on Patreon. These guys are making the channel possible. They're keeping my work sustainable. I can't thank you guys enough for everything that you're doing on Patreon. The tiers start at $5 and they go up from there, and they have different benefits. You can check that out at the Patreon link in the description down below, and in a second it'll show up here as well. But the $10 option and above all get access to a monthly video call with me and the other patrons who are eligible for the video call. It's a great time to hang out and share ideas and tell stories and have fun. I just love the hangouts that we get to have. This month in April, we're actually doing 2 because Easter happened late in March and I was not able to do the video call. So this month we're going to do 2, and I'm really excited about that. I'm hoping to have some great conversations again and get to catch up with some folks. But yeah, that's Patreon. Let's get back to modesty as a superstition. But now let's see if modesty meets the definition. Now, a lot of my Christian viewers out there, especially the non-naturist ones, might not see this one at first, and it might even sound strange, even from, immediately seeing the title and thumbnail for the video. But I want you to hear me out with an open mind, because I think that this does actually fit the definition. Modesty is a belief that you should dress in a certain way. It is a practice of actually dressing in a certain way. But the reason is interesting, because it's based on an idea of supernatural causation. Textile Christians will say things like, nakedness causes lust. If you are naked around other people, this will cause people to lust. So there's this idea that just because you are naked, there's some kind of causation going on, like the sight of your body goes into the other person's soul and causes him to lust within his heart. There isn't a biological way that the sight of something could impact your immaterial soul. You could argue that the sight of something or the smell of something in your senses could affect your body, but I don't know that we can make the same argument for the soul. Maybe you could, but I'm not sure you can. So we're talking about something that transcends the purely natural, and we're talking about a supernatural cause, that nakedness causes supernaturally a man to lust, and that's a supernatural outcome. So modesty is a belief and practice based on a belief in supernatural causation. So is modesty a superstition? I think that it is. I think it meets the dictionary definition. If you disagree, by all means, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. But I think that pegging modesty as a superstition is helpful not just because it's true, but it's also helpful because if someone is kind of on the fence with this issue, someone is really wrestling with whether or not the Bible really condemns naturism and whether or not naturism is really right or wrong, then defining modesty, and I think accurately, as a superstition might be an extra little thought-provoking idea to give that person. Because, I mean, our task as Christians is not to follow superstitions, is to obey Yahweh, is to obey the Bible. So the idea of relying on a superstition for your moral grounding just isn't how Christians do things. It's not how we're meant to live. So with that, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.